this one thing remains the same. Hometown people that are your friends serving you every day to meet your financial needs. We want to see you grow and prosper. And when you ever have a need, you'll get personal attention right here at home, not in some far-off corporate office. Number one in customer service. Apex Bank of Camden, Benton County's best bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Operation 7570 on this sunny Saturday morning. A nip of coldness still in the air. Springtime not quite here, although it's coming this week, we understand. After the next 3 or 4 days, maybe we can get some good baseball weather. Hope you'll get out and support our baseball and softball teams as the spring rolls along today. And our guest in the studios, we've got a man that knows baseball very well. Larry Dobson's with us today. He's with Hope Center Ministries, as is Julie Utley. We're going to be talking with about the mission of Hope Center Ministries, maybe how you can get involved in what that fine facility is all about. But folks, welcome to the program today. And Larry, I might just start off with you. Has baseball started this week in cold weather?
It did, Flash. We went to Milan in Gibson County and played a tournament up there, and they played 4 games this week, I believe. So it was cold.
Baseball and softball. Hey, it's cold out there, but warm up just like a good football night in November.
Amen. That's right.
Well, great to have you with us today. Thank you for being here today. Julie, thanks so much for both of you being here. And as I mentioned, the main topic of the program today is going to be Hope Center Ministries. We're going to talk about that with these two fine guests today. But let's get some background information from both of you, first of all. Larry, let's start with you. Background about yourself and how did you become involved with Hope Center?
Well, Flash, in 2020, it sold the concrete plant to a great family in Parsons, and after that, just kind of got involved with the Missionary Grove Baptist Church. Realized there was a special group of guys out there that was kind of the spiritual leaders, and was kind of curious about that, and they offered counselors, volunteer service. So I got involved doing that, and just kind of curious because, with me, I've had a family member in addiction that, chose drugs over their family, and just kind of curious about why that happened. So I was kind of curious about that. So that's the reason I kind of got involved and started counseling first phase guys out there, and just blew my mind about those guys and the transition that Hope Centers, gave to them and stuff.
And Julie, what about yourself? What about your background? How did that lead to your association with Hope Center? And really, what is Hope Center all about? What is Hope Center?
So Hope Center is a 12-step discipleship recovery program. I'm a graduate of the program, and that's, of course, how I got involved. Graduated 9 years ago, and I've been involved in some capacity ever since, and the position come available for admissions, and I took it, and I've been off and running ever since.
Hey, and you were telling us before the program got underway, you've just gotten back from East Tennessee, so your job with Hope Center, that details some travel.
It does. I stay on the road a lot. Of course, I have an area that I cover that I'm in one county or the other just about every day. And then in some circumstances, I have to travel to go pick up residents.
Well, Larry, let's talk a little history about Hope Center. It started not too far away from us. It's really expanded. It's grown, not just in Tennessee, but all across the United States right now. So what is the Hope Center history? What's its history, and really what would be its mission statement?
Well, to me, which Julie knows more about the history, but Josh Hanna was a pastor in Waverly, and before that, he was at Waverly High School, had some friends in addiction, and knew something had to be done, and just kind of developed a program for his friends. And so the first Waverly Hope Center was the first Hope Center, first, and then it's kind of grown since then. So.
Okay, Julie, want to add anything into that? Of course.
So yes, we have Hope Centers all across the country, and even one in Hawaii. So it's blown up. We started out in Waverly, and then ended up McEwen, which is where I went through. Portland. We have 14 centers across the state now, with 3 more supposed to open within the next 2 to 3 months. And so there's always, normally we can get somebody in the same day, somewhere.
Who would govern the operations of Hope Center facilities? I mean, is there a board of directors or
There
a committee?
is.
Okay. Go into a little detail about that.
So I'm not even sure who the board of directors are. Of course, they just keep everything in check. Of course, Josh Hanna is the CEO and founder. And then we have a flow chart that goes down from there. We have regional directors who's over the states. We have directors that's over all the directors, recovery coordinators that's over all the recovery coordinators, and the same with admissions.
And Larry, you've told me, of course, so you've known about Hope Center for a few years right now with your association with Missionary Grove, of course, but you become more involved here in recent weeks with Hope Center. What made you
Yes,
want to get
sir.
even more involved with the facility?
Well, I give it all to God. I mean, it started, I guess, 2020 before a football game. I volunteer at high school because I used to be an athletic trainer. So I kind of give back to that. I love being involved in that part of it, helping people with injuries. I've always enjoyed that. So Brother Matt asked me about it, which at the time I laughed at him, which is kind of crazy because I think back now and wonder why I laughed at it. So fast forward another year, and he asked me about it again, and I kind of gave excuses, and then after that, it started getting real because Clarksville was about to open up another center, and they was waiting for that, and there was going to be a position in Camden opening it up. So I guess God led me to become the director out there.
And in the times that you've been the director, still learning, getting your feet wet in that organization, but I'm sure
Every day.
you're learning something new every day in the position.
Every day. And Julie, she's a runner. I mean, she is active, but hey, my feet has been running since I started. So it's been a chaotic, but it's been great so far. Just learning the whole structure of it because I've had chances since I sold my business about transition to something else because somebody asked me, "I'm gonna retire." I said, "No, I'm transitioning," and I didn't know at the time, but I was transitioning for this. But it's been great. I love the guys.
So the business, Midway Materials, 2 or 3 years ago, I guess, right now, and hey, that was a well-established business. You
Amen.
had some relatives before you, established the business. That was a long-term small business in Camden.
Sure was.
Benton County. We appreciate the service that you
Yeah,
provided
I
here.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Things you learned as a small businessman, has that helped you now in the Hope Center Ministries
Well,
operations?
As a director, everything I've done in my life has helped me become the director because I was a certified athletic trainer. So I've got guys that has injuries out there. I'm dealing with that every day. The financial part of it, that's my job and my role is the financial part of it. The relationships. I've had to counsel guys, about different things in life, work ethic, dress codes and things like that. And also these guys get up very early in the morning, which in the concrete business, I knew that very well. So, just kind of keeping that, program going like it needs to. It's been great.
And of course, folks like Julie in the operation that's been there, you and Julie and all this, work very well together.
Yes. She hates for me to say it, but she's the MVP of the whole thing. She is great. She is great. She does a great job.
Well, Julie, as you know, when we think about addiction, most of the times addiction, drug-related things come to mind, but addiction can be much, much more than drug-related, can't it?
It can. We have, there's all kinds of addictions that people can have. And our goal is, to get them introduced to Jesus and the will to serve him and overtakes that will to use drugs or to do whatever it is that they're struggling with. So, we can take people that, we mainly focus on drug and alcohol addiction, but, we believe that the power of Christ will set anybody free from anything.
That's right.
Now, you mentioned you went through the program a few years ago, and I don't want to invade any privacy whatsoever, but, if you don't mind, can you tell something about your story?
Oh, I don't mind at all.
Okay.
Don't mind at all.
Well, again, I
So-
don't want to get too personal
So
whatsoever.
I was
but
the
yeah.
person who always looked down on the drug addict, and never dreamed that I would become one myself. I don't think anybody ever wakes up one morning and say that I want to be a drug addict when I grow up. However, from the very first time that I ever used, I will say that I was addicted. It took over, and I got in trouble with the law a few times, and the third time around, I was court ordered to go to the Hope Center, and that's how I got there. I don't know that I would have ever done it without the help of the court. So I appreciate every court system that offers that to people. So I went through the program. It was a little rocky at times. I wasn't used to such structure, and they give it to you. And a year later, I graduated, and I've never looked back.
Were you rebellious when the court sentenced you? Sentenced is a bad word, but when they ordered you to go through Hope Center, were you rebellious at the time and didn't want to do it?
I might have had a little bit of a rebellious spirit in me, along with a lot of other character defects. Honestly, I thought that they were picking on me at the time, but now I can see it clear as day. I was rotten, just rotten to the core. But somewhere along the line, something beautiful happened, and I have continued to do what they taught me. I stay in my word. I stay in church. I stay active in Hope Center, and I haven't struggled.
Okay. And what you learned by going through and being associated with Hope Centers right now, it's helped others. It's helped others that have gone through then. And I'm sure it's very rewarding when someone goes through the program and they've turned out with a lot of success in their lives now.
Yes, it is. We have a much higher success rate than a lot of and I'm not knocking the shorter programs. I had been through the 28-day programs, and it didn't work. Like, it took taking me out of my surroundings and putting me in this kind of bubble, and being reminded that you're worthy and that you're loved, and that and working through, we do use the 12 steps of Celebrate Recovery, and there's a lot of freedom in that. So, yeah.
Larry, in the program, the curriculum of Hope Center Ministries, and there are other, recovery programs out there, as you both well know, but how is the curriculum with Hope Center? How is that curriculum maybe different than other recoveries? Not knocking these other programs
Right.
whatsoever, but, just...
And I've never been to another program or anything like that, but I listen to the guys that come in, because I had first phase guys, and a lot of these guys have been to different programs, and I just listen to them. And the difference is we are Christ-based. That it cannot be done without Christ. That's first and foremost. Christ is the number one ingredient in Hope Center. So these guys, when they come in, they have a 30-day window of what one of my residents said, that you go to Bible college. So for 30 days, you're in the Word. You got 3 books, and you're in Scripture. I mean, you're counseled individual. You got counselors coming in for groups. So they are into the Word from day one. And then they after that they go 38 weeks vocational training, teaching them how to work, because most of these guys has never worked when they're not addicted. And their eyes are open about, hey, I'm successful working when I don't have drugs in my system. And so it's a new life for them, because they see they're able to work and do well. And after 38 weeks of that, then they can kind of go on their own, get their phones back, and they're able to work at a job they want to do and make their own money. But they're still with the program about being involved in church, and what time to be home and everything like that. So the freedom is opened up a little more. So after 12 months, and then they graduate. So
Now, what age do you, do you serve? What age? All ages, or how does that work?
They have to be 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
25 to drive.
Right. Yeah. Gotcha.
That's
Okay,
very
yeah.
important.
And
But-
we have
Go
some
ahead,
that
Jen,
are.
sorry.
Oh, it's okay. We have some that are drawing Social Security. That is in the program. As long as they're capable of doing it, then we'll help you.
I was telling Larry before you got here this morning, we were chatting, wonderful website out there, Facebook page, but the website, and of course all the link ups you can go to, but there's just some wonderful testimonies up on the website about how people of all ages and couples had actually met and in productive lives now. But there are just some wonderful testimonies up on your website.
It is. It's a really good website. There's lots of good information. It's got testimonies, as you mentioned. It's got pictures of the homes. We thrive on putting these out in the country, in serene areas to where they're not right in the middle of the rat race. Big, beautiful homes. It's not facilities like you would think. There's lots of good information there. And there's also if you have a loved one or someone that is interested in doing the program, you can also fill out a little form that will go to admissions to where we can reach out to you as well.
And I think Larry mentioned a while ago, as soon as the, a person assigned to Hope Center, give up your cell phone right away? Mm-hmm. So that's got to be difficult for some.
It's very difficult for a lot of them. That's one of the very common question that I get is, can I have my phone? But we really want to separate our residents from all outside influences. I tell them all the time, that phone is nothing but the devil. They tend to disagree with me a little bit, but they really need, we want to renew their minds. Mm-hmm. And we're very particular with everything that they watch, everything they listen to. I thought when I went in that was the stupidest thing ever, but I see it now. Completely understand that there is a why behind that what. I am very careful even to this day of the music that I listen to. It can be a trigger.
Larry, the clientele that you are served, both men that are served by Hope Centers, both men and women, do they do chores, laundry, cleaning, things like that around the facilities that they're assigned to?
The first 30 days is the guys, when they first come in, they are assigned the chores of the house. Okay, so first 30 days you do the house chores. The guys do their own laundry. Then they go and they work at the church, clean the church, different chores at the church, different maintenance jobs at the church. So, and also they do community work like the food drops and stuff like that. So first 30 days, it's kind of, you've got your chore list and that's what you're supposed to do and do it to the best of your ability.
And I would imagine there is a time, a wake-up call time.
4 a.m. is wake up.
Ooh, oh my goodness.
Unless you're the cook, and then the cook gets up earlier than that. So,
Goodness gracious.
yeah, so 4 a.m. and most of these guys are at work at 6 or a little after. So they start early, and so we have a vocational training at Haven still, which is in McKenzie. So they have to travel to McKenzie, and Paris we have Clifty Farms, and which they just sold, but Clifty Farms and Tosh Farms. Mr. Tosh is a big supporter of Hope Center, and he's helped Hope Center. So we have that. So they have a early morning.
Yeah. Well, what I found out, again, going back to the testimonies last night, that I watched a few and didn't watch as many as I wanted to. Going to get to more of them probably this afternoon. But, these people, I don't care what the age is, they just need some encouragement, Julia. They need encouragement. They need love. They need to know that they can be a productive part of society as well.
Yes, that's very true. I tell people all the time that, the addict is not a bad person. They are sick, and they make because of the drug use, it makes them make bad decisions. I did too. But I get to be the face of Hope Center, so I say all the time I have the best job in the ministry because I get to be the first one to offer them hope and tell them that, hey, you can get out of this. There is a way. They're not bad people.
Well, I tell you, time's getting away from us on the program this morning. We need to take a break for our good friends at Apex Bank, the sponsor of Operation 7570. So let's take this break, and we'll be back with the second portion of Operation 7570. Stay with us.
Apex Bank of Camden, proudly serving the Benton County community since 1931. In recent years, through growth and expansion, we've taken that same local community spirit into other markets. Today, with over 20,000 customers across Tennessee, our business philosophy remains the same. Local people making local decisions, serving our friends and customers, and investing in the communities that we serve. Here for you yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Apex Bank of Camden, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Welcome back to the second portion today of Operation 7570. Larry Dobson and Julie Utley from Hope Center Ministries are with us in our studios today, talking about the mission statement and what Hope Center Ministries is all about. Glad to have you with us on this Saturday morning. Hope your morning has started off real well. And as we continue with the program, Julie, as we talk about Hope Center Ministries, 18 years old, that's the minimal, that's the earliest age you can get assigned. But how is it mission? How is it mission done to Hope Center?
So every resident has to go through an admissions coordinator like myself. We have several across the country. If they're off of the streets, then, they call me, I do the screening. We talk about the program. I want to make sure that they know what they're signing up for. I try to explain it in detail. I let them know that they're going to get up at the crack of dawn and that we're going to keep them busy, and that try to explain it very well. Then we do an application, and as long as they qualify, then there is a one-time payment of $700 for each resident that has to be paid. So we discuss the payment, and then we figure out transportation to get them here.
Okay. And Larry, as we were talking earlier today, before the program got on the air, if a person is going to be admitted, go through all the process with Julie and her compadres, all that is, all the T's are crossed, all the I's are signed, then you're going to be admitted to Hope Center. You may not necessarily be to a Hope Center here locally.
No, sir. One of my rules that I've seen through first phase counseling is the guys from the same area does not do as well because the outside influence is still there. The people maybe associated with them is still close, so they have an urge where they want to leave the program faster. So, because you need that first 2 weeks to clear their minds, to get their minds right about the Hope Center, So my rule is, unless Julie, we kind of talk it out that we need to have somebody from Camden in our Camden Center, which I don't have a problem with that if there's a need there. But majority of the guys need to go off, maybe Waverly, Dixon, Clarksville now, just a little bit away from just the community that they're from.
We use a lot of strategy when we're planning on where they go. In some incidents, the courts don't want them in their hometown. So we work very closely with the courts, and of course, whatever they request, that's what we do. But we try to use, like I said, strategy to make sure that they're in this town, the center in the town that will benefit them the most. So sometimes, they want them far off, and sometimes, they have family that want to be a part of their journey and be there to support them. So you want to get them out of their hometown, but close enough to where, family can come visit and be a part of it.
That's a good, and I had that as a talking point too, Julie and Larry. Family visits, as the program goes forward then, and the clients, the residents are settled in for the Hope Center Ministries, does there come a point when families can come and visit?
Yeah, yes,
and how important is that?
Very important. I mean, one of the I call it core values of Hope Center is restoring lives, restoring families, and restoring communities. So in the family part of it, anytime that we go to church, the families are welcome and encouraged. And Flash, that's what lights my heart up, is when a guy's family comes with them, their kids, that, the renewed love of their kid, and realize that, hey, what I'm losing in addiction, I'm seeing now. And so we want the families to be involved. And and really that gets their family involved in church and Christ, and so you have a renewed relationship starting with their families. Maybe their parents are coming to visit. They've had a rocky relationship, because they've seen them going down. But when the parents see them transition, they are changing. When they see that, then the whole families unite. It's amazing to see that. Really is.
Recently, we had, I won't mention any names, but we had a gentleman in the Camden Center that his wife had filed for divorce. He had children. She was done with him. And slowly, she starts going to church with him, bringing the kids. And I got the honor and privilege to watch him baptize his wife and children. And they're happily married, God restored it all.
Great, and that's really what the program's all about. That says enough when you see a story like that. Now, on Sundays, typical of 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock worship time, Julie and Larry, are the residents, do you go to a church service as such, or do you have church services on the grounds, or how does that work?
Well, we have both. Okay. And going back to your other question, on Friday nights we have family a foundations class for the families to make sure that they're a good influence on the family. So we have family support on Friday nights, but the families have to go through family foundation class to make sure that they're good influence on their resident, on their kid or husband or wife or whatever, so we go through that. Just make sure to screen that they're good influence on them. On church services, we have CR on Monday at 6 o'clock. We have 6 o'clock on Wednesday, and then 7 on 6 o'clock on CR, 7 o'clock on Wednesday, and then 9:30 is the service at Missionary Grove that they go to.
Okay, and I was going to ask you about, of course, we've talked about Hope Center being faith-based, of course, and the mission statement then, and we talked about church services, that sort of thing, but the relationship of a church, of an organized church with Hope Center Ministries. Is Hope Center affiliated with a local church at some point in the structure?
Yes, each Hope Center has got a sponsoring church, and that's where, the church is invested in these guys. That is where they go to all their church services. Each center has their sponsoring church.
And again, the Residence Hope Center, they become affiliated with those churches when they do things like the Second Harvest Food Drive, things like that, that you do out at Missionary Grove and different things. And they, again, just enjoy being out and being part of the community to feel like they're worth saying they are.
Yes.
Giving back.
Yeah, sure.
Because a lot of times they're on the other end of that. So when they are giving back to the community, it's a blessing to them. It really is.
The relationship that Hope Center has with folks like Missionary Grove and others out in the community, how do you describe the relationship? And, maybe people that are not affiliated with Missionary Grove, Brother Matt, or other or just, the comments you hear from the public about the work going on at Hope Center.
Well, usually that, because all our counselors are volunteers. And until you're in the program, you really don't see the true Hope Center. You really don't see the whole true program. So when you get involved in the Hope Center and come visit these guys and counsel these guys and stuff like that, it changes the way you see addiction. The Hope Center changes the way you see all of it. But the community-wise, a lot of the stuff we do at Missionary Grove, we couldn't do without them because we have the workforce to do a lot of projects that needs to be done, and it helps everybody, in the community.
Now, at the end of the program, do you have what I call maybe a graduation or, an observance, a celebration to, really praise these individuals that have gone through and done successful and see how far they've come in the program?
Yeah.
Yes, we have depending on the location, the second Friday or Wednesday night of the month, we have graduation. And it's a beautiful thing. Every time that I get beat down or just get worn out, you just go to a graduation and you're reminded of why we do what we do. We had one last Wednesday night at Missionary Grove. 2 guys graduated, and I mean, it's just a blessing. They get up and share their story, share how they got there, what God's done in their life, and it's very humbling to know that you're just a teeny tiny part of that.
And Flash, both those guys in their testimony said that they want to stay in this community. They're not from this community, but they are absolutely dynamite in what they do, and they want to stay in this community. So that's how important this is.
And we see more of that. We're seeing a lot more of that now, because by the time that they graduate, they've been away from their surroundings. They've been away from all their old friends that they used with, and they formed such healthy relationships within the church and the community that they do want to relocate and stay here, because they've made that new circle of support and love, and we're seeing a lot more of that now.
Larry, what do you see as the future of Hope Center Ministries here on the local? And I'll ask you the same question to expand upon that, Julie, in just a moment. But what do you see as the future and where you're going down the road?
If Hope Center's got an unbelievable, beautiful house, facility-wise. It's, one thing about Hope Center, it wants a wow factor. When these residents come, they really don't know where they're going to, but when they see where they're at, they're amazed, because most of them don't have hope. When they see they're at Hope Center, it gives them hope, So at our facility, we need a place for the counselors to counsel, because when they come in, if I'm in my office and recovery coordinator's in his office, you have to find a location to do that. So one of the things I want to accomplish is to add on to the house, so when the counselors get there, they know where they're going. They don't have to look for a spot to counsel, and just do that. Also, we're going to pour some concrete, which that's part of my life, but we need a place for for those guys to play basketball and have a perfect location. All we need is just raise a little money and get it done. So
Nationwide, Julie?
Nationwide, we just keep expanding. We can't keep up with the need. Unfortunately, as the fentanyl epidemic is just exploding, we are just keep growing.
Are you seeing, as time has evolved now in fentanyl that you've mentioned, we hear that in the news every day, but as you see the program expanding, is that becoming more and more of an issue than from what it was a few years ago?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Last year, I couldn't even put a number on the deaths from former graduates. There is no more one more time. Nowadays, there is no more one more time. I had several that I was working on getting in the program that never made it. One in particular I spoke to on a Friday, called Monday morning to confirm that she was coming in, and somebody answered the phone, was like she died Saturday night. So, it's a war that we're fighting, and every time my prayer every morning is just give me one more, Lord. So.
Larry, you mentioned, having funds, things you want to do some expansion, and I don't even know if we've talked about this during the course of the last 30 minutes or so, but where does funding for the program actually come from, and can people out there, give a donation to a Hope Center?
They can. I mean, Hope Center has 2 fundraisers a year. Right now we're doing the Keep Hope Alive. Julie has her set goal, and I have my set goal. You can go to Hope Center on the website and find Keep Hope Alive. You can donate that way. We have a billboard out in town. My number is on the billboard by a Mexican restaurant. So call me, and then giving funds back to the program so we can, if somebody wants to donate for the concrete, you can designate that funds and it goes directly to that, or missions or whatever. You can designate your funds to go to different avenues in the program.
Right.
What about just coming to the facility and just donating time, just helping with maintenance work? Is that acceptable?
Oh, yes, because all the time we have different things that the guys can't do that we need people to to come help. One of my future things is I want the guys to have a cake war or whatever online so we might need somebody to make a cake or pies and do it online like during one of our family sports, that we can sell, goods like that. So we need all the help we can get.
Yeah. Well, I know both of you this morning, you've brought some papers with some facts and figures on it, maybe some things I didn't ask this morning, and in our closing moments, Julie, I'll start with you. Do you have anything there on your papers you'd like to talk about?
Yes,
Hope
I've got
Center, as a
some
matter of
stats.
fact. We'll give you that opportunity.
These are the stats from last year, and this is nationwide. We had 849 baptisms in 2022, which was a 25% average. So we had 25 at each center that got baptized. We had 301 year-to-date total graduates, and I'm going to skip over that one. We're on track to have new graduates in all 13 states by the end of 2022, and families attending 832 year-to-date totals. And we have 1,123 serving volunteers from 2022. And we had 915 residents worldwide in the 26, that's an average of 26 per center.
That tells me things are going in the direction you want them to go. with
Yes.
the center. Okay. Larry, some information from you, additional things.
Flash, just talking about the Camden Hope Center, we are the #1 facility in the Hope Center program. That has a lot to do with this lady here and the guys before me. But the baptisms is amazing. The salvation is amazing. So our program as a whole is #1 in the whole facility and everything. So we just need to keep that going because it is a benefit to our community so much because these guys are so talented in what they do and everything like that. So it's we can help our community get addicts help, but also when they're through the program, get them back in the community and be successful, bring their families with them, and it's amazing relationship there.
Well, as we know, unfortunately, you can't serve everybody out there that needs help. We certainly are aware of that. But in case in our everyday lives, we run into someone, which we all do, that needs uplifting, needs a helping hand. Larry and Julie, what will be your advice, how we can be encouraging to someone that needs something positive in their lives?
I'll go first. A lot of these guys that I've talked to that are in jail, it might be that Bible that was handed to them. They get into the Word, and that starts the whole healing process. So, if get into the Bible. Hey, don't take my word for it. Get into the Bible, read about it, and let that lead you to maybe helping yourself that you see that you might need to get into a program like Hope Center and things like that. Or if you got a family member, just keep trying to get them to get help because it might be that one time that they say, okay, I'm done with it. I need help because each time that I've seen that these guys are using or OD and they've been brought back or whatever, something happens that they finally realize, hey, I need help. So it's very important.
And as long as there's breath in them, there's hope. I hear often, there's no hope for them. And that bothers me because, I've seen so many that were completely hopeless that come into this program that had a complete life change, and it's our staff members now. So I think that they need encouraging. They need to be reminded that they're loved and that there's help available. And at any point, I carry that phone with me. It's a miracle I don't have it in here with me this morning. So you can, always call. We can, even if our program is not a good fit for you, I will help you find a program.
And it may not necessarily be an overnight transition. This is a process that may take a period of time.
Yes, it is a process. I think I was probably 4 months in my program before I finally decided to quit trying to buck the system and to to grab a hold of everything I could get. So it is a process.
Are you and Larry available maybe to speak to civic groups, school groups, or, maybe some other church groups out there that would like to know more?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I've seen invitations out to different churches, and we just don't serve Benton County. Carroll County is very important to us. That's one of the counties that I'm focusing on trying to get corporate sponsorships and, different churches involved, because these guys got powerful testimonies, and that's what we're working on is helping them get their testimony out, because there might be somebody else that needs to hear that, or parents that gives them hope that their kid might be able to get help and stuff like that. So, any churches or anything like that.
We do have what we call Hope Sundays. And so if there's any churches that wanted to have us come in and do a Hope Sunday, we would love to do that. It's we bring a couple of guys, that sometimes women too, that are in the program to share, and we tell about the program just for awareness and ways that they can get involved, because just because Missionary Grove is the sponsoring church, that doesn't mean that we didn't get other churches involved. It's a community thing, not just a certain church.
Right.
So Hope Sundays is a great way to get word out.
Tell me about the Facebook page, the website where people can find out more information, and they can contact either you one-on-one, of course, but, find you on social media. Where can we do that at?
On Facebook, I'm trying to get that all dialed back in, which I haven't done too well just yet through corporate or whatever, because they're so busy. But you can go to my page or whatever and like me or message me and Larry Dobson, if you have any questions or anything like that. And I think next week we'll have the Camden Hope Center webpage up with pictures and stuff like that. Just like the page and everything. On the main page on Hope Center, just look for Keep Hope Alive. Look at the testimonies that's on there. It's a powerful website. Keep Hope Alive is going on right now until the end of March. So donate there, or just call me on my cell phone anytime.
Well, it's been an honor having both of you in our studios, and as time goes along, we'll have you back in any way we can help you to get out a message about Hope Center, what's going on. Feel free to call upon us, and thank you both for coming in today.
Thank you for
Flash.
having us.
Julie Utley and Larry Dobson from Hope Center Ministries are guests today on Operation 7570. In closing today, I just want to say a personal word about how many people have acknowledged the fact and the death of our general manager for over 60 years, Ron Lane, who passed away last Sunday. We appreciate all your acts of kindness, condolences, and thoughts of sympathy in regards to Ron and his passing and what he meant to Camden Radio for well over 60 years. Memorial service is scheduled for April 2nd. That will be Palm Sunday at 2 p.m. at First Baptist Church. We'll have more about that as we go along, but this weekend, of course, we want to remember Ron and all the great things he did for WFWL, WRJB, and I know that the family appreciates every act of kindness and your thoughts and prayers during this time. Well, that's our program, Operation 7570. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you again to our guest today. Hope you have a great day. We'll see you next Saturday morning.
For more than 85 years, Apex Bank of Camden has built a tradition of local people serving local people.